other words, they lived a very reserved Anglo-Saxon life. When he goes off to war, instead of seeing the horror that war is portrayed as, some guys that become, I don't want to say cops, firemen, whatever, they get a certain kind of adrenaline going that becomes like a charm to them. It becomes like an addiction. So guys' limbs are getting decapitated, all the horrors and nightmares that later give people all sorts of flashbacks and post-traumatic stress are like an awakening of emotions for this guy. Also, he comes in contact with women who just find him irresistible because they see him as a conquering hero. So in his own mind, he's become Attila the Hun. So while his wife is writing him saying, I hope you get back in one piece, he's thinking, I'm getting an angle on life that I've never had before, and I'm never coming back. I've already gone over to the other side without even joining the enemy being this heart of darkness that has become my way of life.
What do you think the people that always want to play anti-heroes start with this synopsis that they have to come from a foundation of criminality? Like convicts. Why does a convict make such a good, concept of rebellion, do you think? Because really, there isn't much room for rebellion in a situation where you're isolated into some form of institutionalization, unless that kind of structure breeds rebellion. Am I being too philosophical, fellas? Is the ginseng working yet, guys?
Entertainment depends on sickness. There's a lot of sickness in the convict's mind. It's entertaining.
I could argue that one.
I don't think there are things that I do exactly the same every week. I think there's always some kind of difference, especially now. Stay away from personal things. The one thing I was thinking today was, man, just save your judgments for yourself, huh?
That's very enlightened, my friend.
Or like in your case, make confession to weekly or...
I'm trying to break free of those former ties and bonds.
Didn't find any validity in cleansing your soul of, sins you thought you had.
I think your actions are pretty much
why would you confess things to somebody you can't even see? But they're just listening to you. Like you're some kind of phone, like you're an 800 phone or 900 phone call or something,
Well, I don't know. You felt a certain anonymity or something, I guess, was maybe what they were after. Yeah, where you went in and you said, hey,
kind of like Confessional Anonymous.
Yeah, I guess that might have been more what it was like.
That's so sad.
I don't know what the concept there was. I'll have to.
But it was tweaky, so you liked it.
It was.
It ran with the gin. It ran with the ginseng. Yeah, cleansing. That's what you told them.
It was like I can't even describe the experience of walking out of a confessional in terms of all of a sudden you could jump 3 feet higher. That was that kind of stuff. It was trippy.
What kind of weight were they putting on you? What kind of weight were they putting on you, man?
I just cussing at my parents too much, saying it was bad, telling them.
Really? I felt that's, it's funny, I felt 3 feet high when I read Man, Nature, and Woman by Alan Watts. And I saw this, kind of saw the way there was a correlation between all the things that, took you to that higher plane and, included a wholesome view of, intimacy.
Right.
That's when I felt.
Killer.
That's when I felt.
Right.
That's when I felt really. 3 feet off the ground.
That's the missing
One
of the missing
different
elements.
than Ed.
Yeah. No, I read that too.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I'm hip now.
Did you confess it to anybody besides me?
Personality is a big aspect of my reality now.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to understand what the potential is for the human. I mean, you hear a lot of people talk about it, and you see inspired people all the time. Like I seen Louis Armstrong today, classically inspired. Unfortunately, a Leo. But I only put that guy down.
Jesus Christ, I need 500 milligrams of bee pollen just to get out of bed in the morning.
It's because you get it very early.
Well, no, I need 500 milligrams of bee pollen just to get out of bed in the morning.
And
I correlate that with a form of, I don't know. Is that being kind of, bzzz, strung out on bee pollen, or? I got the ginseng blues. I don't
know, man. I think you're just one of those modern experiments going on that we all are, in a way, with our synthesis of all the different cultures that basically, make up what our diet is, what our influences are philosophically, all that kind of stuff.
Isn't it strange, though, how people look for, all this kind of, stimulation and opening of their adrenal glands through, caffeine, or bad illegal substances like methamphetamine, anything to give them that kind of kick, you know, anything to keep them going in the doldrums of their laborious labor, were really bee pollen, ginseng, and what's the jelly that they put in these things? Royal jelly.
Okay.
Right, all nature-made stuff. You know, if you go with it a long way and work out a little bit and take some yeast powder, I guarantee you, you'll live a long and healthy, fruitful life. But Ed, I need 500 milligrams of bee pollen to get out of bed every day in the morning. I mean, what if I run out of money and I can't get any more?
This is garbage.
Okay, come on. What's garbage?
I mean,
Oh, you know,
you
I,
say
okay.
this kind of
Oh,
thing
yeah,
to
I quite.
test you, you know.
Yeah, I always kind of feel so ill at ease sometimes, you know, in so-called institutions of learning. You know, it's like I'm almost caught up in a conduit of boredom. I feel like I'm suffocating in the halls of. Why is
What are
that?
you tuned
why,
to,
why
man?
what am I tuned to? Myself, probably. What are you tuned to?
What's up, Buzz?
Hey. Are you up there tonight, or
Yep.
you doing a show tonight?
Yep, Thursday night.
Huh?
You remember them old days, huh? When you
Yeah.
used to have a show.
Kind of.
Kinda.
Okay. Okay.
This is garbage.
Okay, come.
I don't know, man.
too.
I don't know.
You know.
I mean, I see a lot of I see a lot of people that
make that much difference.
I see. I always thought that, you know, part of the attraction of the college thing was that you got a lot of people that are pretty idealistic, and that kind of are in a learning environment that want to learn, and it's conducive to learning, basically,
Oh,
in a lot of ways.
You know what I always feel? Check it out. I always feel that that maybe there's an upper echelon of society that's invested with a certain amount of inherent wealth that's like kind of put in a situation where they run around in circles and become irrelevant, and then like they become like the energy of slaves, and that, you know, people like Quentin Tarantino who quit school in the 8th grade.
So
or
no
the
one's ever
innovators.
been
Oh,
inspired in college
wait.
ever.
Who?
Is that what you're saying?
Who?
Marv Albert.
Actually,
Marvel?
everybody, like
Yeah,
all
right.
these guys that were musicians or whatever, I mean, there's certain schoolings that you go through in order to get the basics of stuff, you know what I mean? And I think, and when you're looking at the higher institutions of college in America in the, you know, latter 20th century today, it isn't, I mean, Doonesbury did a comic strip on it. I mean, it's definitely, it's something to be criticized, it's something to be analyzed in a way that's, it's, you know, what it provides for the person that's involved in it is questionable in terms of their abilities to cope with anything, essentially, you know what I mean? Unless you get your, you know, master's from Harvard in business administration, or you kind of go those certain routes that are basically you're being, you know, what is it called? Jesus.
Channeled through a funnel of
Yeah.
like sewerage up into like Wall Street, so you can stand there and manipulate, you know, people's retirement funds.
Yeah, and then there's certain academic.
I mean, if you can learn a language that really, like, you know, the proletariat doesn't understand, you control the limited amount of income they have. Like, you know, the IRS supposedly only messes with middle class and lower middle class people because they're much more easier to intimidate. So if you put that on a larger scale and you think, well, God, getting a really good education in an Ivy League school will make me, you know, give me the ability to be, you know, the boss or overseer of other people's money, their emotions, or even their souls to a certain extent, then goddamn, education is worth something, isn't it? It would be to me. What about it to you, Eddie boy? Eddie boy, what about it to you, man? Come on.
I don't know, man. I'm on just this weird purist
you're pure,
thing.
you're pure,
I swear, I hate to even use that term because it sounds.
It's a lie. Go ahead. Continue on. This guy here.
No, but it's funny. Just because it's like when I went to college. I mean, I went to college forever, and I never even finished to get my degree because I was so like tripped out on all these other subjects. It's like, yeah, it's like when I want to go to a doctor's office, I want to know about my body. So I take a 1-year human anatomy class. It's a nursing class, and I don't need for anything. But now when it's, you know, I go in and see a doctor, and he tries to tell me, you know, how deep my wound is and what the heck I got a pretty good picture of, you know, what the heck's going on in there. And I mean, it's this. I have all these kind of weird takes on it that I never really tried to explain to people before. But I'm glad, you know, you've put me in the position tonight to explain.
What are we explaining? How deep your wounds are? Or... I didn't mean to, like,
No,
you know,
just-
pull any scabs off.
I guess
know.
I'm defending college in my own kind of way, but even though I agree with you in a lot of levels, that I mean, the fact that people are running around or creating positions for themselves in society that don't have a lot of meaning or aren't so, I don't know, man. I'm more into an artist thing because I think through the creative exploration and through doing like stuff where you're expressing yourself, you learn about yourself through that way. And I think a lot of other kind of mediums or ways of making money or living, you get lost in what someone tells you to do or that kind of stuff. And it's hard to ever get a sense of what your own, like, I don't know, why you feel certain ways, why you think certain ways, why you, kind of the stuff that you might want to know about. I don't know. I sometimes think about it.
Like acts as a catalytic agent to, you know, cue your curiosity onto the mystery wave of life that will take you to that higher plateau of intellectuality where, you know, you can, like, you know, go for, like, the technology day in the global village, such as computers or, you know, things like the internet, or you can just connect into a world where if you don't have an education and you don't go to school, you know, who knows how you're going to end up.
Maybe on the CCC.
It's a very jazz thing to do a solo at this point. So, you know, I like girls that are kind of sweet in sort of a sick way. Fellas, can you guys follow that? Have you taken enough ginseng where you can follow that?
Sick.
Well, no, what is it? What kind do you like? Sick in a sweet way? Is that it?
Sweet.
Sweet sick.
Sick way. Sick in a sweet way. Isn't the
Sweet
same
sick
thing.
way.
No, man, I don't
What,
really.
like insomniac?
What I like, what I don't
Insomniac
like.
stewardesses
You know.
and stuff like that. Always kind of in flight, you know.
How's everyone taste?
All right. So,
Man,
point it. Oh, you want to talk?
Ed seems so confused tonight. I wonder what's the problem. Maybe he's re-emerging or reinventing himself as a different kind of Ed. Dude, a lot of times you use the phrase with me, reborn or rebirth. Could you maybe tool that fantasy a little closer to home for us? Rebirth!
Trying to say, man.
It's not a fantasy.
It's not a fantasy?
It's not a fantasy.
So what does that mean? Like, so
It's a concept.
No, I didn't say. I didn't really mean to say that, you know, rebirth was a fantasy. I just meant, like, you know, it was a figment of Duke's imagination. I didn't mean it was a fantasy.
It's a concept, like under the volcano is a concept. You know what I mean?
Just use the word insight instead of rebirth, and that's what I mean. If you get insight about something, it could change your space. You're reborn.
Just use the word satori. That's what awareness is about. A flash from a past that you never even lived. A part of your family tree where the DNA was a limb that you kind of fell off of. You know what I mean? That's what I call it. Satori. Satori.
Satori is obviously still fiction in Buzz's life. Look at him.
I got that. No, man, it's cool. I don't get into that. It's going along lately for me. Just try to exercise a lot, and eat the right food.
No, but do it in that really good
I can't really do the.
Yes, you can. Just
It's man. The thing with my characterizations is it's a space thing. I got to be in that right kind of space, and then man, you're trying to be. I don't even know what character it was.
No, I've been eating all the right food, reading all the right books, just trying to do the right thing.
It's a symptom of the culture of the day. Stress. Stress. They have to bite like animals. Like animals. We've regressed.
Do you know how many
Back to
species-
animals.
You know how many animal species we lose every day? You know how many animal species we lose every day now? Do you have any idea? So supposedly in the time that people will watch this show, we'll lose, I think it's 3 an hour or something. So we'll lose, what, a couple animals that we lost, species.
Does that include insects?
Well, that's mainly what it is, actually.
Insects?
Yeah. Mainly, they say it's a lot of them that they don't even
It's the
know yet.
rainforest.
That's mainly what it is. I don't mean to get heavy and deep.
I am the last of my tribe. I am the only one that speaks my language. When I am gone, there will be no more.
Does that work? I got the Turkish crack. That's just powder. I put it in a bowl with just like a little bit of water.
19-year-old Scorpio.
I bet it would.
How's it?